We're going to call to order the August 15, 2023 regular board meeting for Competitive Edge Charter Academy. I would like to note that all board members are present this evening. Thanks for being here. And we will stand and do the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Are there any changes to the agenda as presented?
No changes this evening.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
So moved.
I have a motion by board member Bannister. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by board member Debbie Miller. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye, passes unanimously. Next, we're going into our highlights, and we have a presentation regarding our Jumpstart and Summer School program presentation. And it looks like Principal Mead is going to be doing that for us. Welcome, Joe.
Good evening, Board President Snellis, members of the board, Superintendent Binks, members gathered. Thank you for allowing me to be here this evening, talk a little bit about our summer program. We're lucky to have 2 sessions this school year. We had CECA kids on campus for elementary, and then for the first time, we had all of our middle school students at CECA for summer school this year. So kind of excited to have so many kids. We had about a little over 300, sometimes 400. It was kind of a transient population, depending on who was on vacation. But to almost have as many kids as we normally do on campus was interesting for summer for the first time, in a good way, So jump on in here. So TK to 5, we had a combo TKK class. So that's incoming TKers, incoming kinders. And Ms. Adams was brave enough to take that on, and they did a great job. And it really helped to ease that transition coming into the new school year. So TK to 5. And then, like I said, our middle school jumpstart 6 to 8. We're really lucky to have teachers from, I think everyone from Parkview Middle School came over that for a large chunk of those kids really lended some consistency, faces that they knew even though the campus was new. So we had 2 sessions, around 2 weeks each. We had a lot of tools to work with, and our tech department did a great job of making tools available for our students. Little catching up right in the beginning, but then the kids were off and running, and the teachers did a great job of implementing technical tools and then giving students a lot of hands-on collaborative opportunities in the classroom. It kind of shifted this year. In the past, as we came back from COVID, it was a lot of let's build social emotional skills, let's build relationships, and this year was a little bit more nitty-gritty as far as academics and kind of keeping after it the Monday after school ended. So here are some of the tools that we used throughout the summer. So in our enrollment in elementary, we hover between 150 and 200 students. Like I said, attendance was not mandatory on a consistent basis. So as people took vacations here and there, it would fluctuate a little bit, but consistently about 150 students a day on campus. Okay, saw a little bump in growth in our students as far as their reading and math goes from the beginning of the 2-week session to the end. A 3% growth in that met or exceed standards rate, and 2% growth in math. So reading and math, a little bit of growth over a 2-week period with kids kind of coming and going. So we're thankful for our teachers kind of sticking to it despite the fact that kids weren't consistently there. In middle school, we had about 127 students. Once again, it could hover around 150, but great kids and did a great job. Sometimes it's hard to make that transition from all middle school to sharing a campus with TKers to 5th grade students. But just great, well-behaved students, and the teachers did a fantastic job working with them. And here you see our middle schoolers grew even more. We had a 9% bump for reading and a 3% bump for math in that 2-week period. Right, to some photos here. Ms. Tucci working with Hagerty and phonics phonemic awareness with our students. Mr. Colleen was working reading comprehension. His goal was to get through one novel and really dive into the comprehension piece over that 2-week period. And students, like we said, a lot of collaborative work and keeping them kind of nose to the grindstone over those 2 weeks. Thank you.
Any questions for Mr. Mead? No? Okay. Thank you, Joe. Appreciate it. Okay, we're now moving on to our action session. We have one action item from Human Resources. It's a resolution authorizing a teacher to teach a class not listed on their credential, provided they meet certain requirements. Do I have a motion to approve this item?
Move approval.
I have a motion by Board Member Bannister and a second by Board Member Coe. Any questions regarding this? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye, passes unanimously. Any public comment for the CECA meeting? Nope. Okay, advisory committee report, Joe.
So we will be starting our first advisory committee and thus having our first representative for the September board meeting. We're rock, paper, scissors to see who wants to come up and speak publicly now that Mr. Gregory has moved on. But we're excited to introduce that new member and talk about all the great things going on here at the Union School.
So is it a punishment or a reward to do that?
You know what they say, people are scared to death to talk in public, so
Yeah.
very nice people, someone will.
All right, okay, thank you. Any other, sorry, yes, consent calendar. Any items anybody wants pulled separately? Okay, hearing none, all those in, well, do I have a motion to approve the consent calendar as presented?
I'll move to approve.
Got a motion by Board Member Bob Miller, have a second?
Second.
Second by Board Member Bannister. Any questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye, passes unanimously. Any additional administrative information?
Not this evening.
Okay, Board Member comments? Board Member Bob Miller.
No.
Okay,
Just have a really good year ahead. I'm sure we'll be looking forward to whoever we get next month. It'll be great. It'll be
Ms. Bannister.
Good start. I've seen all the pictures on Instagram.
good. Yeah.
I'd be interested to see how that, your jumpstart kind of affects your end of the year benchmarks, because you're trying to slide with us, right? So I'd be interested to see how that works out.
If those kids predict. Yeah. Okay, thank you very much. We are adjourned and we will reconvene at 6:30. Our regular meeting. We're going to call to order the August 15th, 2023 regular Board of Education meeting for the Yucaipa-Calamasa Joint Unified School District. I will note that all board members are present this evening. And I would ask all of you to please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, are there any changes to the agenda, Superintendent?
Not this evening.
Okay, so hearing no changes, do I have a motion to approve 3.04 approval of the agenda as presented?
That's so moved.
I'll second.
I have a motion by Board Member Coat and a second by Board Member Bannister. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
The chair votes aye, it passes 5-0. We do have 2 items to read out from closed session, and I'm going to do that for the first one. In closed session, the Board of Education took action on a motion made by Board Member Kathy Coat and a second by Board Member Debbie Miller, followed by a 5-0 vote to provide approval to legal counsel of a settlement of existing litigation against the Yucaipa-Calamasa Joint Unified School District, OAH case number 202-305-0012. Also in closed session, the Board of Education took action on a motion made by Board Member Sharon Bannister and a second by Board Member Bob Miller, followed by a 5-0 vote to provide approval to legal counsel of a settlement of existing litigation against Yucaipa-Calamasa Joint Unified School District, OAH case number 202-304-0574. Thank you. Okay, now we're moving on to something more exciting. Educational services presentation regarding our summer graduation celebration. And I believe that it's turned into less of a celebration, unfortunately, because our graduates couldn't make it this evening. But I am going to read the names of 6 students who were able to complete their high school graduation requirements during the summer from a couple of our schools. And so I'm going to read those names in respect to their accomplishments. From Oakview High School, 2 graduates are Adam Archuleta and Christopher Denier. And then from Yucaipa High School, we have 4 students, Nolan Buckridge Garola, Brian Chavez Amador, Alana Gonzalez, and Jaden Griel, who are graduates from our high school. Congratulations. Now we're going into 4.02, human resources. This is years of service recognition. Mr. Stoltz. We're going to join Jeff.
President, board members, I invite you to come to the front. And for those of you in attendance this evening, just a little bit of background on what we're going to be doing tonight. As many of you know, we have a fantastic group of employees classified and certificated in our district. And we make it a point throughout the years of their work for us to recognize them at certain milestones, year 5, year 10, year 15, and so on. And typically those recognitions are done at the school site or department where those employees work. But tonight we'd like to do something a little extra special. There are 26 individual employees in the district who have worked for us for 30 or more years. That's pretty remarkable. So on top of them being recognized at the school site, we'll still keep that element of it. The board has asked that we have an opportunity to recognize them tonight. So what I'm going to do in a few minutes, I'm just going to call up your name. I'm going to shake your hand, give you a certificate. I'm going to invite you to stand here with our board. And really not only do we want to celebrate that moment, but also when we're all here together, take a picture and recognize all of that. If you just reflect for a minute of the thousands and hundreds of students we've had over the years, our employees, thousands and hundreds of our employees have made such a positive difference in the lives of students. And these employees have been doing it for quite some time. So Starting with the batch of 30-year employees, can I invite up Andy Calbreth? And Liz Calbreth. Jamie Castro. Carol Gaffigan. Some of the folks had other commitments tonight, and they obviously let us know that, but definitely want to recognize them. So continuing on, 30 years, Sheila Huggins. Jennifer Kelsey, 30 years. Mr. Pitcher's Steph Pitcher, 30 years. All right, 30 years, Mr. Robles, Paul Robles, Park Hill. All right, we have a group of 31. Miss Sherry Bowser, 31 years.
Mr. James Cole.
All right, 32 years, Sherry Fountain. All right, 32 years, Patrick Smith. 33 years, Sandy Baconhouse. 33 years, Shirley Figueroa. 33s, Ty Larberger. All right, another 33, we have Terry Marino. All right, and then Sheila Huggins just got here, so Sheila Huggins, come on down. Congratulations, once don't apologize. All right, continuing on, 33 years, Katie Zavaleta.
Jim was my principal.
I think that was a good thing. All right, 33 years, Kelly Warren. Season and a half. All right, on to victory 4, Chris Bennett. This person just can't stop giving us treats in HR. Sue Courts, 34 years. All right, close colleague of mine. Sue. Close colleague of mine, the amazing Linda Moffitt, 34 years. All right, 35 years, Claudia Garcia, Smile. 36 years, John Eichman, Texas High School. 37 years, Ralph Grover, Seminole. And these last two are amazing numbers. So, 44 years, Parkview Middle School, instructional aide, Linda Mishadak. Linda. Okay, we never get we never get tired of recognizing this person for 48 years of service. The amazing Maria Nieto, hired in 1975. Probably need to slide in front. Slide in front. Go forward. Second row up. Your name outside right. So mom and dad are happy.
All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. And then let's look at these pictures. Congratulations. Thanks, everybody. Congratulations.
President Snelling, we have one more resolution. Would you like to say?
Yeah. She's in the back. She just texted me.
All right, congratulations to those folks who've done so much for kids. So keeping on theme, every year we also have a process where the district selects a district teacher of the year. And if you remember, I was here in the spring where we announced teachers of the year per school site. And from that process, all of those individuals had an opportunity to put their name in to apply for district teacher of the year. That process is much more involved. It's a 7+ page application, and that application is a part of the packet that goes on towards either the county level and eventually the state level competition, if that's how far the candidate goes. So in our district, we went through that process in the spring. There was one applicant who stood out and whose application was selected from the panel, working in tandem with YCEA, our certificated union. And many of you who are at the Kickstart know that the person who was selected as our district teacher of the year was Jessica Lingenfelter. Jessica, come on down. Say a few words about Jessica, and then I'll let her enjoy the moment. So first of all, she has this fancy trophy to show off to her family, and enticing you're just gonna have to let her bask in the limelight a little bit longer. But just to tell you a little bit, Jessica currently teaches English and other things, in crew at Green Valley High School. And prior to that, Jessica had taught at Parkview. Her application was stellar. Obviously, we had other stellar applicants. So Jessica, you should be very proud of not only your application, but more importantly, the work you do for students and your total commitment to all of them. And we're very pleased as a district and as a group community to recognize you as our teacher of the year for 2024. Congratulations. All right.
I said quite a bit at the back to school kickoff as well, but I just want to say thank you. I truly am honored to be the teacher of the year. And really, I couldn't do this without the students, but the students are why I do the job. The students are who make me what kind of teacher I am. I really do love getting up and going to work every day. So thank you. I'm honored. I love this district. Our kids are part of this district. Well, one graduated, but still part of the district. The other one is sitting out there and made him come tonight. So, but anyway, I just want to say thank you. I appreciate all of you for supporting me and everybody else in this district so that we can do what we do for all the students. So, thank you.
All right, ready? 1, 2, 3.
Now we're going into our highlights moment. Superintendent Communications Plan.
Thank you, President Snellings. I would like to ask Lance Bradley, who is our communications specialist or public information officer, as others say. Lance has been with us through COVID, and we've appreciated the information that he's been able to communicate during that time, especially with a lot of our families that would join him for weekly YouTubes and so on. But now, because we're in a different age, we're able to really make progress not only on communication for safety purposes, but also communication in general. So he's going to just share a little bit with the board this evening about his communications plan.
Okay, Lance.
Good evening, President Snellings, members of the board, Superintendent Binks, members of cabinet, members of the public. I'm super excited to share this with you tonight. So this is my 3rd year in a communications role here, and this is our very first communications plan that we've got to bring forward. So basically what a communications plan is, it's just it's a really broad overview of all the services that the communications department provides.
We're trying to communicate clearly. You have to scroll down.
What? Oh,
Scroll down.
hello.
There it is.
That's what it looks like. It's all pretty. But it really just outlines the services the district provides as far as communications to our employees, to our families, to members of the community, other government organizations and nonprofits. The methods that we use to reach all of those individuals and the methods that we use to receive information from all of those individuals. And so this is a somewhat comprehensive document that kind of outlines the history of the position, the history of communications in the district, and it includes a little bit of market research as well for public relations. Now, some of the market research in here is a little bit outdated. Just like any other job, public relations has really shifted since COVID. And so next year's communications plan is going to look vastly different. There's a lot of emerging trends and a lot of new studies and research that has come out that is really going to impact the way that we communicate with our stakeholders, our families, our community partners, and each other. But this is sort of a brief overview of what we've been doing for the last 2.5 years or so. And even before that, before we had a planner, before we had a communication specialist, really our main methods of communication are social media, old school over the phone, in person, at community events. But we've also rolled out mass communication programs like Parent Square, and Parent Square has allowed us to really truly engage with our families in sort of a social media style format. And then we also, on top of Parent Square and social media, we also have set up a really good relationship with the News Mirror. The News Mirror used to write articles about the school district, but now they've offered us the opportunity to really have a spot in the News Mirror every single week where we can provide articles, we can provide letters to the editor, and they've been a really great partner in reaching
not just our school community, but the community as a whole. And moving forward, we're looking to just grow those things. And if you scroll all the way down to the last page, I kind of covered all the other 8 pages that are in here, but I just want to talk about sort of what we're going to work on moving forward. And really the big one is going to be evaluating proposed communication strategies. So like I said, there's a lot of new emerging trends in public relations and communications. And so this year is really sort of going to be our year to fine tune and find out the best ways to reach our families, to reach our community, and to better engage with our community groups. Friends of the Library I recently spoke with, and we're going to be able to start a new partnership with them. Regardless of where the library project goes in the future, we'll at least have some sort of partnership with our library in town. And then also working with, the National Night Out. We were invited to the National Night Out just last week or the week before. And that was another great way for us to engage with our community. So now that we're kind of out of the woods of COVID, we're looking more towards one-on-one interactions and less mass communications, kind of what we were doing when we really couldn't do the face-to-face. And really that's sort of this whole communications plan in a nutshell is how we reach our families, how we reach the community, how they can reach us, and how we can effectively support each other as a whole.
Lance, do we have any idea of the usage of Parent Square? How many parents use that?
Yeah, absolutely. So previous to Parent Square, we used Blackboard, which is sort of a, for lack of a better term, archaic method to communicate in mass. And at that point, we were only reaching about 80% of our families. With Parent Square, we're up at 97%.
Whoa, that's really good.
We have really great read-through. So, it's not just getting the communication out there. It's our parents or our employees actually opening the communication. And we're really at 75% both employee and parent. And that's extremely high in the local communications.
I'll also tell you, the board gets a Friday letter from the superintendent and from all the assistant superintendents. And Lance, I want to tell you, I appreciate a lot of the attachments that come from you, because as a board member, I don't always know everything that's going on. I'm not working in the district. And so it's really good for you to keep us up to date on all the activities, the day-to-day things that are happening, what our kids are doing, what our teachers are doing. So I will let you know that we read those and it's very much appreciated when you do that.
I appreciate that. Sounds like I'm adding more this week.
Not too many more. But it is very helpful. And then our presence on Instagram too. That's the only social media I'm on. I kind of wake on Facebook, but I know there's a lot of things going on Instagram by all of a lot of our folks, our directors, and you and Jamie and Callie. And so I really do appreciate that, because it's just really good to keep on top of that. Any questions or comments from the board? Bob, go ahead.
Yeah, Lance, I just want to tell you, what's been nice working with you my first several months is you're a positive person. And I think positive leadership is about, it happens in communication also, because we have many emerging issues that are happening in surrounding communities, staying on top of them things, what's happening. And I know you're on top of stuff. And you've just always been so easy to work with. Anything I know personally, the board's needed. And a lot of people don't know that because you're behind the scenes, but thank you for what you do. I know you love what you do and you're dedicated, you and Stella, but it is recognized. You're a great employee and you should know that. So that's my main point.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. I appreciate that.
Debbie?
Well, ditto on that. And this was very comprehensive. Wow. There was a lot in it, very interesting. I really, I love just the whole communication, social media aspect of all this. And I think you do a fantastic job. I appreciate that you're, besides Callie, you're like the face of us. And I appreciate it. I appreciate that you're getting out into the community, because we're part of the community, and for you to just get us all together and with all the communication, everything. I really, really appreciate what you're doing.
Thank you, Mrs. Miller.
Yes.
I appreciate it.
Sharon?
Yeah, I'll just add to that. I first became aware of you when I was looking at Facebook, and I thought, who is this guy that patiently answers the same question over and over and over, and patiently walks people through hooking up their Zoom and how to get the hotspot and all that kind of stuff. You were amazing then, and you didn't have this job. You did that for kicks and giggles. And it was so needed and so appreciated. And you've grown into this and created this position And it really is a benefit to all of us. Thank you very much for all of your hard work.
Thank you, Ms. Baxter.
It's not just recognized by us, but the people, when you look through the social media, you see all the things. When I see you tag, I know it's going to be okay, because I know you're going to handle it. And I think the people that tag you know it as well. So everybody is noticing what you're doing. So it's very much appreciated. I love to see how your brain works. I think that's good things there. And I do look forward to the links. I kind of look for the blue stuff first.
Yeah.
Then I go to that, and then I kind of go back. But no, you're very much appreciated. I love your vision, and please continue your hard work.
Thank you, Ms. Cody.
Okay, thanks, Lance. Okay, now we're moving on to our summer programs and facility projects, and it looks like this is a team approach.
Yes, thank you, President Stallings. Educational Services is partnering with Business Services on this. So at this time, I would like to invite up Chris Rexstadt, who's the Dean of Valley Elementary, and also Darlene Pittman, the Dean at Mesa View Middle School, and Kevin Lewis, the Assistant Principal at Yucaipa High School. Mr. Johnson and Mr. Klein following. So I know you guys are excited. So with this, before they begin speaking and presenting, I just would like to say that these individuals helped us cover summer school as summer school principals at the elementary level, the middle school, and also for Yucaipa High School. And they didn't know I was going to talk a little bit, but I just want to tell them what an amazing job that they did covering in a principal position, because I know in their positions, they do an absolutely stellar job, but it's not always easy being the principal. And they did amazing with curriculum instructional supports, with staffing, and then just handling the everyday daily operations. So thank you for that.
Good evening, President Stallings,
Hi, Chris.
Board. Thank you, Captain, Superintendent Binks. Very nice to see all of you. Thanks. So we have our three schools. And the slides are coming. We had the elementary at Chapman Heights, which I did session 2. Diana Valenzuela did session 1, and then middle school also was a competitive edge, and then the high school is at Mesa View. And those, my two colleagues will talk about that in just a second. So with the Jumpstart focus on TK to 8, our biggest focus was building English, language arts, math, science skills, which is on this next slide that's coming up, and enriching student learning and inquiry. It's not a big deal. It's there. You can see it. So we'll talk about the program. Thanks, Lance. I appreciate that. So that's a lot of different little things, and all of us touch base with it. One of the keys for elementary was the Renaissance, the STAR Renaissance, which is what we use for assessment, and we'll talk about that a little bit more in a second. But then once the teachers used those assessment pieces, they were then building lessons off of Nearpod and Dreambox. Both of those things we used in the school year, but also we decided to use them in the summer school. And one really super fun piece of summer school, which we don't really ever get to do, it feels like, but was a field trip, but they came to us. So Old Grove Orange, who works with the district, came, and in second session, we sampled cucumbers, and they taught the kids all different fun stuff about what's going on with there. But all these programs align with our school year programs, and thank you, board, for supporting them. And we'll talk in a second about how do those things help us with the learning of summer school. And our enrollment in Jumpstart, somewhere around 500 students. And just a small personal story. Thank you. It was an honor to work with those folks. I've done summer school once before, twice before as a designee, but it was at our campuses, if you remember that. Every elementary school did it. But this time, I get a chance to work with all these other teachers and all these other kids. It was just a really fun time to see folks I'd worked with before. So it was a great time to experience that. So thanks for that. So here is the data. This is kind of the key piece we want to see, right? I mean, programs and all these wonderful things are good, but what did we really do? And you can see there, we tested at the beginning and the end of all the sessions. If kids were there first session, we didn't test them at the beginning, second, we just waited at the end. But you can see there that the reading state benchmark, we started Jumpstart with 37%, at the end was 40. So they jumped up 3%. And in math, they jumped up 2%. So that, I mean, those are small percentages, but they're improvements, right? They're not declines over summer school. And a couple of reasons for that. I had a chance to go around and see a lot of different teachers do things. I wanted to just get the experience of watching and seeing those things. And they were doing great things. Summer school, you know, can be a time to kind of kick back, relax, and do some fun activities, but they were working extremely hard. All the teachers were pushing. They had small groups. They were doing thinking maps, using all the things they're doing on a regular basis. They were using in summer school also. So that really explains some of the great work and sat in some great classes and saw lots of wonderful things. So that's our elementary piece. I'm going to introduce Darlene Pittman now, and she will talk about the secondary, the junior high piece. Thank you.
I'm just gonna get a chair so I can use the mic. Hi, thank you so much. It is an honor to be here. I had a wonderful time doing the second session at CECA for the middle school. Chobi made it easy. He prepped everything in the beginning and things went smooth. We had a great, we had 127 students. We had 40 fewer students for the second session, but when you see our numbers and how well the kids did, you're going to be really impressed by that. We also used IXL and we used Nearpod. I was so really impressed by the middle school teachers we had. We had 3, and they got together and they worked things out, and they did a rotation between the 3 of them, so that the students were able to sort of repeat that middle school experience of going from class to class, and they had really engaging lessons. I used to walk through and think this is just amazing, and their numbers. Drum roll. Look at that, 9%. Woo! Yay! That's huge. So that was a really impressive jump for our middle school students, and then 3% also in math. Still impressive. It was just, like I said, it was a really powerful experience. It was lovely to see all the middle school students from across the district coming to CECA. And I have to have just one more sort of aside from that, because the elementary school students were there first. I spent my entire teaching career in middle school. Who knew those elementary school kids are so adorable? Right? Like they come up and they hug you and they say, hi, Miss Pivot. I was just like, this is amazing. But the middle school students were great too, but they're so cute. I was just so impressed by the collaboration and communication of our middle school teachers. So thank you for the opportunity to see that. And I'm going to introduce Kevin. He was the principal at Mesa View for YHS.
Welcome.
Hello, my name is Kevin Lewis. I'm the assistant principal at UCAPA High School. And first and foremost, I want to thank Mesa View Middle School for being such great hosts. Kathy Pearson, Jeremy Perez, Darlene Pittman, Cheryl and her custodial staff was awesome. They really didn't have to help us, but they were there every day. They were amazing, and they created such a welcoming environment for us. And even though the big old high school is invading their middle school campus with these big old 590 students, their demeanor, support, and assistance set the tone for a really tremendous experience. So thank you very much. Some people see summer school, especially at high school, as a credit recovery tool, and it is, but it also allows those students who are PE kids who broke their leg or rolled an ankle or something during the year to finish out their credits without holding them back. It helps academy students who want to get their core classes done so that they can stay with their core peer or their academy peers during the regular year. It allows special education students to continue that curriculum and that support throughout the entire year. It is dynamic, it is important, and all kinds of students accomplish their goals at summer school this year. Overall, we accomplished or earned 4,380 units, and that's a lot. That's a big, big summer school. But most of those units, or the most important of those units, President Stelling already told us about, are those 4 students who graduated high school during the summer. And those are Nolan Buckridge, Corolla, Brian Chavez Amador, Alana Gonzalez, and Jamie Brillo. So I want to thank them for coming to summer school and finishing out their year or their career. We had few disruptions. We had very few discipline issues. We had free breakfast, free lunch. Thank you, Child Nutrition. We didn't even need bells or programs or music. The students really came to learn, and the teachers came to teach. And that's what we really focused on, was the important part. Teachers, staff, students, parents, they all work together for a tremendous year. Special thank yous to Melinda Johnson, who was the engine that made this engine go. Dwayne Ulmer, who subbed for a custodian who couldn't finish because her dad was sick, but he made that campus his own home. And I have to hand it to those teachers who taught bell to bell, even though we didn't have bells, and taught creatively. And like Chris said, they taught hard. They didn't mail it in for summer school. They taught hard. It was great. Most importantly are your kids, the 450 plus kids who had perfect attendance out of the 590 students that attended Mesa View for summer school, and those 590 students that accomplished their goals this year. So thank you.
Any questions for our administrators?
Yes, I was able to make it out to Mesa View, and I think that one of the reasons you were so successful and the students showed up and you were able to provide this type of success was the atmosphere that you created. It was comfortable, it was calm, and your attentiveness to safety was wonderful. I mean, we were in conversations and you said, "Excuse me, I need to go do something," and you did, and it was amazing. And so kudos to you. I apologize for not getting out to see you guys. I'm sure that was amazing. Great job.
Well, thank you for your work this summer. I know in talking with Darlene, there were some eye-opening moments. I'm sure there were for Chris and Kevin too. And it's a great experience from a personal growth standpoint for you too, along with, of course, the growth for our kids. So thank you for supporting us during the summer. Oh, sorry, Debbie's got something.
You know, when I watch all three of you up there, you just love this. And I think that's part of the success of the program too, because I could just see it in your faces. Look at them. They just love it. And thank you so much for making it so successful, fun, and just thank you.
All right. Dr. Riemann.
Thank you, Mr. Snelling. So the second part of the presentation is the facility projects that we did. You heard Mr. Lewis mention, and you saw in the presentation, we limited summer school to 3 sites, or summer program to 3 sites. It was because of the work that we had going on at the other school sites. So I'd like to introduce our Director of Facilities and Purchasing, Dennis Klein, as well as our Maintenance Manager, Adam Johnson, to share a little bit about the work we were able to accomplish over the summer. And the last part I just want to share is Child Nutrition Services will be here at a future board meeting to talk about the work they did in the parks, the community, both in Calumet and Kaipa, and they're a big part of our summer program, but we'll bring them at a future date. So I'll hand it over to Dennis and Adam.
Hello and good evening, everyone.
Welcome.
My name is Adam Johnson, and I'm the manager of the Maintenance and Operations Department. I wanted to quickly just thank you all for the opportunity to put on this short presentation so that we can kind of showcase some of the projects that we were working on over the summer break. I also kind of quickly wanted to thank Dennis for being such an outstanding member of the team. The outpouring of support that he's shown M&O has been fantastic, greatly appreciated. I also believe that our ability to collaborate with one another has been crucial to the success we saw this summer. So thank you, sir. So Inland Leaders, some of you may or may not know that Inland Leaders is a charter school that operates independently while using our facilities. And so we continue to maintain these facilities. And so what you're seeing here is a mini split air conditioning system that we installed in a storage area that was kind of attached to the kitchen area, but unable to independently cool that area. This storage area was used to store consumable items that maybe don't necessarily need to be refrigerated, but maintain optimal freshness while being climate controlled. Next slide. Continuing here within the leaders, we had a project that we did this summer that was a painting project that we painted the entire exterior of the buildings, as well as did a number of other things, stucco patches throughout. We were able to replace and repair some siding on some of the portable buildings, as well as we replaced 250 linear feet of fascia board blocking and repaired some joists as well. Next slide. Valley Elementary School, as you can see, we did some roofing, some custom room dividers, and some fencing. And so the left picture here, the fencing is actually some security fencing. We put privacy slats in there, commercial grade fencing. And we chose this area because these two windows here were actually accessible from the parking lot. And so we wanted to provide an extra measure of security to these classrooms. And then we can stay on that one.
Oh, my bad.
And then the center picture here was kind of some custom built partition walls. I call them kind of the cool down corners for students that may be overstimulated or need possibly a redirection of focus, just an area that they can go and have some time to themselves to maybe just get on the right track. Then the last picture on the right is a picture of obviously some roofs. This roofing application is actually district standard now. I know that we've been using it for the last couple of years. This application, once applied, is inspected by a third party, and once that inspector signs off, we get the benefit of a 40-year warranty. So we're excited to continue to use this roofing application. Next slide. Parkview Middle School, obviously we have some kitchen flooring that came out fantastic. Working with child nutrition, Kevin and Ann was a pleasure. The middle picture there is a kitchen office just off to the side, and we were also able to do some serving area there as well. And then the right picture is some locker rooms. We were actually able to repair over 60 lockers, and whether it be the facade, shelving, locking mechanisms, you name it, we did it. Next, please. And then Yucaipa High School, our athletic facilities. On the left there is our shot put area that needed some definite TLC. So we went in there with some special laser leveling equipment, pulled out some of the old dirt and brought in 25 tons of decomposed granite, made it perfectly level and relined it. We also freshened up the paint around the rings. The center picture is our turf repair and maintenance, which we do typically every year, but this year we were able to go a little more in depth. Kind of the same process. We brought out machines that utilized laser leveling technology, kind of fluffed up the infill, brought in new infill, and then perfectly leveled everything out. We also made a couple different repairs to the turf as well as one to the track. And then the right picture, you'll see our stadium sound, which was a fantastic upgrade to what I believe was the equivalent of like a bullhorn. We'd like to thank Dr. and Mrs. Berry, who actually donated this sometime last year, and we were able to get it installed this year. So what you don't see here is a picture of the lighting that we actually changed out. We were able to replace 11 bulbs and ballasts on the stadium lighting. So this Friday, our boys and girls should be able to kick some rear end. At this point, I'll hand it off to Dennis. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Again, my name is Dennis Klein. I'm the Director of Purchasing and Facilities. It's been a pleasure working with Adam. We collaborate very well. We have a very strong team with knowledge and experience that the whole team has. So continuing on with Yucaipa High School, I do want to stay with the previous slide with the stadium sound. That roof was also part of the roofing project this summer. You can't see it. No one wants to go that high. So moving on, this is Yucaipa High School. This is the drama multi-purpose room. This is the second phase of the sound and lighting project that we started last year. And this was additional lighting up on the stage as well as the updated sound system in the control room. So UCAPA High School was very busy, along with the HVAC project. We had asphalting and roofing going along, hence why we had summer school shifted over to Mesa View this year. On the left is just a picture of some of the asphalt that we had done. This year we continued and completed upper campus, the auto shop area, the student senior parking lot A, staff parking, as well as the stadium. So right now, UCAPA High School is completely seal coated. It was a multi-year project that we finally completed. On the right, building I, the admin building, that got some love with the Weatherwell product, with the roofing. And in the center, behind the kitchen area, we decided to take out the shrubbery that was really overgrown, and the rodents decided to make lots of homes in there because the dumpsters were right across the drive. So we were able to take that out and put in some concrete slabbing to make it safer, easier for the deliveries, and better for staff and students. Over at Green Valley High School, we had the pleasure of working with an outside contractor as well as M&O staff to upgrade the kitchen hood exhaust fan and makeup air. By allowing this to happen, Green Valley was able to secure a food permit, so they are now able to serve hot food to the students of Green Valley High School. So it's been needed for a long time. Oakview High School got some love. Again, that was part of our roofing project for the gymnasium. It was leaking on the south end. Since we had the gym floor completely resurfaced down with wood, we were able to repaint updated logos, new paint to match the school colors. The roof will protect that so it doesn't leak. And then there was the old team room that's been abandoned for many years. We had it abated and demolished, so it's not a safety issue anymore. Over at Calamasa, I don't know if you all recall, the previous fencing was 4-foot chain link around the kindergarten yard. So we were able to utilize the CUFCA process, and we got baby fence came in and was able to put 7-foot wrought iron, which will match the rest of the school site with the same design and whatnot. Nice thing about this project, there was a lot of positive community interactions where a lot of the community would come by in the morning and bring donuts to the workers. So that was very welcome. Over at Dunlap Elementary, that also had some roofing as well above the NPR kitchen area and on top of special ed, portables 27 and 28. That was completed last weekend. We didn't have a slide for that, but what you see here is we had, along with Parkview Middle School for the kitchen flooring, we had the flooring in Dunlap updated. Very well overdue, as well as a flooring project that we were able to do that included the multi-purpose room at Dunlap, as well as Wildwood, which we'll speak next. And then once we completed the playground project in the kindergarten yard, the grounds with the ground squirrels, gophers, and some of the construction that kind of made it difficult for the children to play. They like to play soccer and they kick a ball and they just go this way. So we were able to bring in a landscaper and we got new grass and irrigation. So about another week and a half, they'll be able to go on it and then they'll be able to play soccer and be safe. And it's all soft. Wildwood Elementary was our biggest site for flooring. We were able to recarpet the entire campus and do new LVT vinyl flooring in front of all the sinks. In doing this, there were some areas that we took out. There were some classrooms that had like racetracks of vinyl, and we were able to put 24 by 24 squares in. So if for some reason something happens, we're able to pop out a square and replace it and not do the entire classroom. We had a lot of collaboration with the teachers and the staff on site, took their wants and needs into consideration, and it went pretty smoothly. And finally, student services. This is in conjunction with the kitchen cement work. Right there on the left slide, right there, you see in the back right corner is the ADA ramp. So we were able to put in a walkway here, but it's dual purpose. So what this will allow is, this will allow staff, because parking is so limited between the two sites, Green Valley High School, ECEC, and Student Services. This will allow staff to go onto the blacktop and be able to park there as well. They were doing it previously, cutting through the grass, and after it rains, it's not a pleasant situation. It's like a mud bog. So this was poured last Friday, and it should be ready to go next Monday. That's what we have. We'd like to thank you for allowing us to do this. If there's any questions, we'd be more than open to answer.
Yeah, I think we'll probably have some questions and comments. I do want to give you credit where credit's due. We skipped over Ukipa Connect Ed Academy, where you did some new construction in the counselor's office as well. So I just want to thank you guys and have you tell your men and your women how much we appreciate. We see these things come across on our agendas and we approve them. And oftentimes we'll be able to go out to school sites and see some of the fruits of the work of your folks. But please thank them. It wasn't an easy summer. It was brutal for parts of this summer to be working outside and doing these projects. And to see everything that we've been able to do, it's really, it's exciting for me and very satisfying. So Kathy, anything?
I agree. The level of improvement that has happened with our facilities is amazing. And when I drive around our city, I'm very appreciative of the work that you and your crews do. Please convey that message for us. We can see it. So we appreciate all your hard work. So,
thank you. Anybody else?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Sharon.
I just want to say, this has an effect on, yeah, everything works better and it looks better, but it makes everybody feel better too. Everybody that came to work at these places got a lift from seeing the improvement, and it shows how much we care, and we do. And I really, yeah, and it was a brutal summer. My gosh.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Debbie.
It's really nice to see all these photos, see all, we approve things, projects and stuff, and to be able to see it happen and how beautifully everything is done. And I really, really appreciate all of you, everyone that does all this. It's just great. Thank you. Thank you.
I mean, it's neat to see it all together in one presentation. Like Mike, President Snelling was saying, well, as we go to the campuses, we'll see, yeah, that's approved. And then, sometimes on our tours, the principals will tell us areas that need improvement. Just you're comfortable with the subs you use sometimes. We're on task, that they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. And if they didn't do it correctly, we're on it. And then we use good subs, the good people we're using for some of the work. But aesthetically, good work, it just looks better. And you would continually want to improve. And I really love that we're taking security in the fencing realm as a concern, and the improvements are awesome. So keep it up. Good team over there.
I think Ms. Code has one more.
I wanted to let you know that when I went to Valley, we made it a point to go see your call the cool down corners. And I just want to let you know they've already been used and they already made multiple students feel better. So thank you.
Okay. And one more thing, Tyson, I don't want to put any pressure on Benjamin, but with that new shot put ring, you might get another extra, maybe an extra foot or two, Benjamin. I don't know. We'll see.
We actually extended it out. So.
Okay. All right. I'll be watching for it in the newspaper, Benjamin. All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
And thank you, Dr. Freeman and Dr. Henderson. Now we're moving on to public comment. I do have one request from Mr. Burton. You want to come up with the items, Travis? Okay, we can do that. All right. So moving on, let's go on to the action session. And our first item from the superintendent is the approval of school resource officer. I will go ahead and make the motion to approve this item. Do I have a second?
Second.
Got a second by board member Coe. Any questions or comments? I've got a couple questions. I just want to, so I understand that this is San Bernardino County Sheriff, correct?
Correct.
So where does that leave Mesa View, which is in Riverside County, in terms of an SRO coverage?
So I believe Mrs. Pearson is in the back, but we've had many, many conversations with her as the principal of Mesa View, and she's been incredibly satisfied with Riverside County Sheriff's Department. She's serviced by the Calamasa deputies, and they are under the direction of the Capizon station.
Okay.
And so she has, you know, stand up and nod your head, Ms. Pearson. She's been really, really excited about what they've been able to do and
Okay.
the response time that they've provided.
Okay, and the one more question I have is related to the ELOP ground. I don't know if I like that acronym, but Expanding Learning Opportunity Program. Is that something that's ongoing, or is that limited in scope in terms of the timeline for that?
Thank you, Mr. Stallings. That is an ongoing program, a commitment
Okay.
for the governor to offer a 9-hour day to our students in need.
Okay, and I guess because this is a before and after school program, because the SRO is going to be doing some after school and before school work, that those funds are legitimate for that purpose.
Absolutely. You know, our administrators often work late into the evening, but they're doing things to run their school. And so when we're able to provide some support to our after-school programs, and we have our partners here this evening, it just gives another level of enforcement. You know, sometimes it's just about a custody issue. Sometimes it's about something, you know, a call that needs to be made. Maybe there's something surrounding the school that is an issue. And this, having a second SRO also offers the opportunity to have someone on Monday and on Friday, because our deputies work a 4-10 schedule, and so they will stagger and they will be able to, you know, provide that continuous service.
Okay, so, and I know that Dr. Moffat is gonna, I think we're actually approved, well, we're supposed to approve tonight, I think, a new title for her, Director of something or other, ELOP, I don't know. Yeah.
Expanded Learning
Yeah.
Opportunity Program.
And then also we have Tyson Lingenfelter, who does a lot of the discipline and those kinds of things. So is there somebody from the district office who's going to be like the contact person to kind of coordinate that whole piece with the SROs? Because I did that in Colton.
Yes, so the SROs during the regular school day, if it's a discipline issue or something that is student-centered where they might need some support from the SRO, the principals work directly with them. And then in conjunction with that, Tyson is always involved as he's child welfare attendants. And then during off hours, if there's something that happens with a student or we need to work with the SRO, it generally goes through my office or Dr. Breeden's office.
Okay. And one last thing, it's not a question, but a comment. I'm hoping that we can get some periodic updates about some of the activities and the benefits, because we're spending a good amount of money on this particular project along with the city, and I'll talk about that in a minute when we, after we vote on it, but
Yes.
I would like to have some intermittent presentation.
We did some research prior to making this recommendation to the board. We had Bobby Jones give the Deputy Jones, who had been our SRO prior to having an injury, and then we have Deputy Perez, but we asked him to provide us with the call logs. And the only thing that wasn't differentiated in the call logs to what we could see, we needed to ask for a more expanded piece, which I've learned now, is he was able to tell us every time he went to a school site. So he may have been stationed at Yucaipa High School, our largest school, and then gone to Valley Elementary to help Mrs. Miller, you know, with one of their students, and it would say contact with Valley. And in any time that we had a late start at the high school, he was always out at the elementary schools and at the middle schools as possible. So what we've asked now is just that we get that expanded piece so that we know if it was a call for just relationship with the school call, or was it a call for service? So we're going to be providing the board with that
Okay,
data quarterly.
Great. Any other questions or comments?
Yeah, President Stallings, as you said, you kind of oversee you saw the program at Colton, and I remember providing the officers for you. And I think that at the beginning of this program, it's going to sell itself over time. I think you're going to see that our SROs that have the right makeup to do this job just create wonderful communities for our school. They keep them safe, but they also have this relationship that they can see what's going on before anybody knows sometimes. So I'm thankful that we had this before us. There's a lot of work that was done behind the scenes. Thank you, Superintendent. And I see I have Councilmember Chris Venable here tonight from the beautiful city of Yucaipa and some staff. So thanks for coming to our meeting. I know we need a shout out to the city council for helping us on some of the funding. I know the mayor and a couple of council members worked with our new city manager very hard behind the scenes to figure out how we could get to this this night. And we are very appreciative of that. And I want to thank you, Councilman Venable.
Anybody else? Okay. I'd also like to thank Mr. Venable. I was able to meet him tonight, although I remembered him from the gym several years ago. And I know that you have with you, Chris, I believe Megan Wolf, who's our Director of Community Services. Hi, Megan, welcome. And also Sarah Martinez, who's the Community Services Supervisor as part of the STARS program. So thank you for being here and thank you for supporting our efforts to really make our schools more safer and develop a stronger relationship with not only the Sheriff's Department, but the city as well. And your presence here tonight means a lot. Okay. We got a vote. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye, motion carries 5-0. Okay, now we're moving on to 7.02. This is a second review of agenda meeting materials of board bylaw. Do I have a motion to approve? I have a motion by board member Debbie Miller. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by board member Bob Miller. Any comments or questions for the second review? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye, passes 5-0. 7.03 is the business services modular classroom building installation. And I believe that this is asking us to reject the bids, Dr. Bremen, is that correct?
Yes, Mr. Snelling is asked to reject all bids. We went out to bid for the installation of the modular building, and due to the discrepancy of the bids, we're rejecting all bids and possibly go out for bid at a future time.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve this agenda item as proposed?
Move approval.
A move by, motion by board member Bannister, and I'll second it. Any other questions or comments? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye, motion carries 5-0. 7.04 is business services stop at solutions agreement. And this is one of the items that Mr. Burton wanted to speak on. Welcome, Travis.
Thank you, thank you. Good evening, board. Good evening, public. I was going to come in here and ask a bunch, but let me first start with thank you for striking the deal, working through the city on the SRO. We appreciate that as a community. Long overdue, so thank you for that. On the stop and panic alert, I was going to ask a bunch of questions, but I actually talked to the amazing Lance Bradley. He actually filled me in a little bit on the panic alert, so it's actually a really good thing, and I think it's awesome. But I think you need to market it to the community. They need to know about it. The school safety is a big deal. Now that we know that every teacher in the classrooms, everyone that will have the app will basically have a panic button on the phone. So anything goes down, they got the panic button. The only thing I was going to question was, is the SROs going to be tied into that stop it system? So they'll get the automatic notification anytime somebody pushes the button. So I think it's a great thing, and I think you need to market that to the community because it was a hot topic on school safety. So thank you.
All right. So do I have a motion to approve 7.04 as presented?
Go ahead.
I have a motion by board member Debbie Miller and a second by board member Bannister. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye, motion carries 5-0. The next one is some repeater equipment for the District Education Center related to district-wide communications. Do I have a motion for approval? And I'll second the item. Any questions or comments?
Yeah, sure. So as I've shared in the past, we are moving from VHS to UHF system district-wide. The board approved the purchase of classroom radios across the district this summer. So we will receive those shortly. And so as part of this, though, part of the UHF system, this allows district-wide communication to be much more effective. So we'll have 3 repeaters across the district. If you've seen the large pull out by the Fenton Learning Center, we are ready to go with installation. So to purchase this, we'll be create a safer communication system along with the Stop It app, teacher radios in the classroom. Will continue to increase our safety presence.
That's fantastic. Okay. Any other questions or comments? Okay, I believe we have a motion in a second, correct? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye, motion carries 5-0. 7.06 is the memorandum of understanding with the City of Yucaipa STARS program using ELOP funds. I'm going to say that as many times as I can tonight. Do I have a motion for approval?
Move approval.
Second.
I have a motion by Board Member Bannister and a second by Board Member Coat. Are there any questions or comments related to 7.06?
I have a comment.
Okay.
I was at back to school night at Bridgeview, I think, and a parent kind of walked fast towards us to get our attention, to thank us for this program, because she and her husband work in the healthcare field and they work 12-hour shifts. And she was just so appreciative that there was a safe place that her kids liked to come to for before and after school. And just anecdotally, when I was teaching, my kids took advantage of that program because I could never get out of the parking lot. And so it's so important when it goes well, and it was great to have this parent give you credit for it. So thank you very much. It's a wonderful program.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for the approval of 7.06. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye, motion carries 5-0. 7.07 is educational services. This is for some Chromebooks and charging cabinets. Do I have a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Second.
Got a motion by Board Member Bob Miller and a second by Board Member Kathy Coat. Any questions or comments? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye, motion carries 5-0. 7.08, I believe that Mr. Burt, did Lance score you away on this one too, Travis? Okay.
Unfortunately, this is the complete opposite of the other.
Okay, this is 7.08, the memo of understanding for the Parent Institute for Quality Education. Go ahead.
So are we able to open up the attachments during the meeting so the public can see?
I think we can do that. Yes.
Yeah, so if you can scroll down, that'd be great. Keep on trucking, keep on going. Right there's good. So the public understands what this is, and maybe I'm looking at this a little bit different. So this is the Parent Institute for Quality of Education. This is a proposal for $43,500 that I'm going to acronym it at the PIQE is going to solicit up to 50 parents from Dunlap, Mesa View, and the high school. And it's almost it's two classes, 25 parents per class. So 2 classes, $43,500, okay, for 50 parents. And what they're going to do in these classes is teach the parents on how to help their kids get a better education. And if I'm wrong in any way, I'd be more than happy to have a follow-up on this. So I'm trying to understand, why is it only 50 parents? Why do these 50 parents get singled out by PIQE? And how come this is not available to all students? So all students can succeed. I don't understand that part. So where I'm at is for 2 classes, it's $43,500. It only affects 50 parents with 50 kids. So I urge you to pull this agenda item tonight to save the taxpayer money so it can be used for something for all kids that they can benefit from.
Thank you, Mr. Burton. Do I have a motion to approve 7.08 memo of understanding with the Parent Institute for Quality Education as presented?
Move approval.
And I'll second the item. And do we have any questions? Actually, I'm going to ask the question. Can you give us an idea, Dr. Anderson, about some of the questions that were asked related to that? I've had some experience with CECA, so yeah.
Thank you, President Stallings. Just to clarify a little bit, we partnered with PK last year when we were looking to fill our parent engagement specialist position, and we were just able to do that. And if the board recalls, I appreciated Mr. Stoltz's help with that, and it took us longer to fill that position due to changing some of the job requirements in there, because we felt like we weren't getting an adequate candidate pool to fill that position because of, I'll say, archaic requirements. So we were able to do that, but it just took us a little bit longer to work with our union. And so we feel that that was the right thing to do with that. We're able to fill it now. The rationale for partnering with PK again is because we had a good turnout with beginning that work. And this service is available to all parents. So part of that is putting a cap on just the classrooms with those certain sessions. And these classes are available for Spanish-speaking parents and English-speaking parents. So we offer both of those sessions for both types of families. And part of that is depending on the level, depends on what's taught in those classes. So in elementary level, it might be helping parents with executive functioning skills with like, how do I help my student socialize better at school? Maybe they're having issues making friends at school, or they may be having discipline issues. At secondary level, it may be, how do I get my student into college? How do I even learn about financial aid? How do I do those things? So it depends on the level with what's being taught. And we decided to do this again this last year and have our parent engagement specialists work together with PK in order to learn what they do exactly. And then we'll create this program in the future with just our district needs. So that's why we were having this balance. We allow our new engagement specialists to do that. I hope that helps.
So the 50 student limit is just because of capacity issues?
Correct.
Right
And
now.
if we needed additional classes, they would help us with that.
Okay.
This is also paid out of our local control accountability funds. So that's what helps to fund this piece too, which a piece in there and a component that's mandatory is parent engagement. So that's what we have to use the majority of our funds for.
Okay, any other questions?
Yeah, so just to clarify, I'm looking at it, if a third class is open, there'll be additional fee. So there's opportunity to open more if there's more parents interested or.
Correct.
Yeah.
But it's not 50 for 2 classes, right? Looks to me like it's 27,000 for 2 classes. And then additional costs if there's more interest and those classes get up. So actually it looks like we'll pay for up to 2 classes, we'll pay 14,500. Okay, and then as people are more interested, we will add more money, and then that's where the cost goes up to that 43.
Yes.
Okay, so as it gets more interest, it is open to everyone. We're good that way. Okay, and then LCAP is important because then that does really help us at the end show that we are meeting the standards of that LCAP.
Correct.
For the data that we collected throughout.
And our decision to continue the contract too is based on the feedback from our parents from last year as well, to continue that.
How many participated last year?
We had small numbers last year that were in the low 20s, but that's because we were just starting out with trying to get communication out. So I know Dr. Brown in our educational services office has been working to communicate more widely in the community about the availability. Because the feedback we got was to actually have it available at the high school when we heard back from some of our high school parents.
Okay, I just want to ask, I think you already said this, but I'm going to restate it. So we started this last year, we're starting out small, we're expanding it this year. And with the idea that word is probably spreading, that it's available. And as we see success with it, that we can expand this kind of program with LCAP.
Correct, and because we have our parent engagement specialist position filled now, we're going to try to emulate what this, what the program does, so then we can build it ourselves.
Okay, so we're taking what the program from this other entity and learning from them, and then we can spread it throughout our district and make it more widely available.
More efficiently at a more efficient cost.
Yes.
Yes.
And then, yes, because data shows that if you have just one adult that cares about you in your house, you're going to be more successful. So if we can teach these adults, even if it's one at a time, that's all we can do right now. That is actually really important work for the success of our students.
And I wonder, so when we did it before, were we turning away people that were interested?
No, not at all. We still had room left last year.
So it's at a price right now, the cost of it is going to be fluctuating.
Correct.
Chief, do you have a question?
Yeah, I mean, basically it's a parenting class.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
My feeling is we're bringing another contractor. We have in-house talent here. We hired a position. I think we've got enough bright people around here to figure out how to put that program together. Maybe we can partner with the city, get some help with them too. We're bringing in a contractor to do something that we're going to do eventually, if I heard that right.
Okay. So what I'm hearing is we're going to bring in somebody that has expertise in building these kinds of programs. We're going to learn from them so that we can emulate that program.
Correct. That's maybe what I needed to expand on a little bit more is we just hired our position. So part of this was to get our classes going right now. So this is to really train our personnel too, because she is new to the position on what the needs of our district are and what it looks like to run a successful program. So that was part of the reasoning, is kind of that guided learning for our position in order to emulate it fully, so that we won't need the consultant or PK Academy next year to do that, if that makes sense.
And I'm familiar with PK, and they've been very successful throughout San Bernardino County, throughout California, so I'm comfortable with that. We have a motion and a second. No, you already had your chance for public comment, Mr. Burton, I'm sorry.
I have one more comment. So as we went through our workshop and we talked about the things that we want to better in our school, this was big. And this is helping us help our students and our families become more successful, which in turn will make our city more successful. So I think this is important.
And I'm sorry, but I want to make one other comment. As a veteran of this school district, I've been in lots of programs where we started something and we were going to do it ourselves and we didn't really know if. So if you try it and it fails, it has more damage than, it does more damage than good. So to try something and have an entity that's an expert at it, to me is worth the investment. In long term, that pays off, that we start it correctly and make it something that people respect, rather than just one more thing that doesn't make any difference.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I vote aye. Opposed? Opposed. Passes 4-1. Let's go to 7.09, educational services. This is strengthening career and technical ed. This is funding and an application plan. Do I have a motion for approval?
Second.
I have a motion by Board Member Debbie Miller and a second by Board Member Coate. Any questions or comments? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion carries 5-0. 7.10 is to review and approve the single plan for student achievement. Do I have a motion for approval? This is for Oakview High School. Do I have a motion for approval?
Move approval.
That's a motion by Board Member Coate and a second by Board Member Bannister. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion carries. 7.11 is human resources, declaration of need for fully qualified educators. This is to provide, I believe, yeah, okay. This is, I think we do this yearly, correct? Okay. We have a motion for approval.
Move approval.
I have a motion by Board Member Bannister. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Board Member Coate. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion carries 5-0. Human resources is again authorizing teachers who hold a credential, PE particularly, coach as well. Anyways, do we have a motion for approval? I'm sorry. We have a motion for approval.
So moved.
By Board Member Coate, and a second by Board Member Debbie Miller. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion carries. We have another resolution for human resources. Do I have a motion for approval?
Move approval.
And I'll second the item. Any questions or concerns, comments? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion carries 5-0. Human resources, 7.14, another resolution regarding assignment with motion for approval. A motion by Board Member Debbie Miller and a second by Board Member Coate, I believe. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion carries 5-0. Now we're on the consent calendar. Is there any item on the consent calendar that any board member would like to pull singularly? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor, I'll take a motion to approve the consent calendar as presented.
Move to approve the consent calendar as presented.
Got a motion by Board Member Bob Miller. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Board Member Bannister. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion carries 5-0. We have an information proposal session. We've got some first reviews, Administrative Ray. Any comments or questions from any of the board related to these from your readings? Okay. Moving on to 10.01, additional administrative information. Ms. Binks.
Thank you very much, President Stillings.
Sorry.
Okay,
That was
sorry.
for all of them? I need
Yes.
to talk about 9.05.
Oh, go ahead.
Yes.
Okay, sorry.
As you go to number 5 on 9.05, it states that it's when communicating electronically with students, employees, employees shall use district equipment or technological resources when available. Employees shall include a parent, guardian, or school administrator in all communications with all students. I would like to add that they can choose to do an assistant coach or like an assistant member of like the band director, so that it's 2 adults in the same thing, but it isn't necessarily, because let's think about text.
Tell me where you're looking, I'm sorry.
So we're on 9.05, so you're on number 5 after personnel.
Okay, hold on, let's bring it up.
There you go.
Okay,
I think this is wonderful. I think you need to put another option in there for our coaches and band directors and theater people, so that they have someone else that's in the department with them. So for example, if I'm shooting out a text as a coach or a group text that says, we're gonna change practice today from 5 o'clock to 2 o'clock.
right.
And they don't want everybody to respond to the same huge text, and their goal is to limit the amount of text that go through in a group setting, to limit the drama and all the things that could go on there. But they do want someone that is another adult present in that text. And I would like to take a little bit of the heat off of our administrators, because this says all electronic communication, and that is included text count, right? Am I right?
Right.
I feel like guardian or assistant coach or assistant theater director would be sufficient. I don't know what your feelings are on that.
So
Somebody's volume is up really high. That's feedback.
From a risk management standpoint, it makes sense. Are we gonna be able to manage it if you're CC and the supervisor, and who checks all that? Do we have the system to do that? I mean, from risk management, it makes sense, but how do we do it? I mean, how cumbersome is it gonna be for our supervisors?
That's what I mean.
Whatever,
How
so many
cumbersome,
principals.
exactly. How cumbersome is it gonna be for the people who are in
Right.
charge of, like, so is Matt gonna feel all these?
One of the ideas that was talked about as we were preparing the board agenda for you, and we were meeting with YCEA and CSEA, was to have a designated email that doesn't say Dan Jervis, but it says UKIPA admin, UKIPA high school admin. And that way, those things would drop into
So
those.
it's like a record.
It would be a record, and it would provide opportunity to separate it out of the general mailbox, so that you don't get overloaded or behind in that manner. And then that would afford the opportunity. Of course, the high school is the biggest, from the biggest place, and although it could be a day that Mr. Jervis is on the email system, it could be a day that Mr. Lewis is minding the email system at the end of the day. And it's really, it's an opportunity for us to make sure that we've got a system in place to take care of our employees and our kids.
Agreed. So that email is going to be able to be sent as a text as well. So then it'll be, I'm guessing it's my most can. So just want to make sure that that's a possibility.
So, number code, I think what you're saying is if an employee communicated back to a student with a text.
Or if a student communicated back to the coach, like,
Correct.
they would have to include that email as well in that text.
So the directive here would be to include a parent or administrator on that text. So that would
Okay,
be
so
similar.
that administrator would be that email.
Right, so on the text message, it would be routed through this alternate system. We have the means to do that. We are going to work with our administrative team to work through the same logistics that board member Bob Miller shared about the ability to logistically manage it. We think we can do that.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that we didn't let the phones and the texts slip through the cracks
Right,
there.
yeah.
And I want to make sure that that is something we can do, so that we make sure that that email is available to receive text messages.
And on occasion, you'll have, in many occasions, you'll have on teams, you'll have like a team person, a parent that really takes care of, some of the ins and outs of things. And so that could be the adult.
Okay, I like that as well. Could we also train that adult in including that, and also including that email in any communications? Like, so if that, I know that counts, but I really like the idea of the record. So we can.
And we've met Mr. Stoles and Mr. Bradley and I don't, Dr. Raymond, were you in those meetings? I apologize. Yeah, they've been talking with our coaches about using very specific, not personal cell phones, but using, there's specific apps that can be used, just like Classroom Dojo and some of those things. There's actually a coaching app. I don't recall the name, but
Team Reach.
Team Reach.
Yeah, and Ruby is pretty. As well.
And so giving them the opportunity to use those. Yeah.
So the other thing, just for the board's knowledge, this is the BP, of course, we have first reading, second reading, if upon approval or what happens with it, we would then go forward to provide with drafting an administrative regulation. Some of the details all of you are asking, that's for the nitty-gritty details would be. So I think our first direction was, let's see where we're going large scope, then we'll get the feedback and the nitty-gritty.
More of the
back later.
specifics of the AR.
The AR.
Okay.
Do you have another comment?
Yeah, what was brought up to me by an educator was, let's say, students text now, text and everything else, obviously. They text you, I can't be there today or something, and you're gonna communicate back now. And we have to have a redundancy to put two people on there to respond back. If we make an AR and they forget to do it, now we gotta deal with it. So I mean, that's okay. For risk management, this is a good idea. I fully support it. It's just managing the making the sausage now, because what if you just forgot? Oh, you violated policy.
Right.
Or it was a quick text. Hey, I can't be there today. I'm late to practice or whatever it is. These are unintended consequences, I think, of doing this. We need to do something like this clearly, but I don't know. Maybe I don't understand how we are managing it logistically. I'll be glad to listen.
I think if I may, President Sellings, I think that we know that we need to put something in place. We didn't want to wait. So we brought the board policy forward. And then, as Mr. Stoll said, the administrative regulation would have the details. Now, we're going to meet with our leadership team, talk about that. They've already met with the coaches to talk about it. And as we begin to refine it, then we can bring the AR. It doesn't mean that it'll be perfect. We may have to bring the AR back several times, but it's worth it to continue to work on it. And we've looked at different platforms. We would have loved to have funneled it down to just a certain platforms, but our teachers and our coaches work really hard, and sometimes it works better for them to use a certain one. I know elementary really likes Classroom Dojo, and maybe middle school doesn't. And so we want to give the flexibility to use a system, but it's a system that we can use to help support.
And if we need to make adjustments, we can do that. Something will probably happen, and we go, oh boy, we probably should have done something differently. Yeah.
And I think the reality is, as Lance kind of pointed out, in 15 minutes, we'll be behind, because it changes so quickly. So we're gonna have to, kind of keep a finger on the pulse.
Okay.
Because there's always a new platform, a new format I'm finding, because I can never communicate with
Okay.
because I don't know what they're on.
Well, we're not going to move on that, but I appreciate the conversation, Kathy. That was very helpful. I used to get a note pinned to my flannel shirt.
Simpler times, simpler times.
It worked. Okay. Now we're going on to additional administrative information.
I want to thank the board for your visits to the schools for back to school night. We got a few reprieves where it wasn't 110 degrees, but it was just really nice to have everyone out and be able to walk each classroom. It's been people have done an amazing job. A lot of new things this year with our back to school nights. We had a picnic style at Ridgeview that started early, where there was hot dogs and hamburgers and cornhole and ring toss and Jenga, all these activities with a DJ to just kind of bring together the community. And each school has their own little flair on how they've done it, but they've all been incredibly successful thus far. And we have more coming up this week. We have, I believe, three more. And then, of course, we get into middle school and high school. So they're still coming, and I appreciate your attendance there. I know our principals do, and it's an opportunity to connect with a lot of our parents and speak with them. And so we have that. And then also, I want to thank you, those that could attend the Kickstart for the beginning of the year. And we had just about almost all of our employees that really, we had employees that were off the clock as well that came, and Mr. Stoll and I went through the list, and it was an incredibly successful event. Child nutrition was very helpful in that, and then I want to thank Lance and Stella, because when you're trying to put together an event for 700 people plus, it's a lot of work along with your other duties, but it was great. And thank you for those that were there. You were able to speak to our team, and really, as I was talking to teachers of the years of service were coming up, they were sharing that they really appreciate the enthusiasm of the kickstart to just get the year going, and they brought the excitement to their classrooms. So thank you for that.
Okay, Mr. Stoll, anything? Okay, moving on to board comments. Board member Cook.
I just wanted to say, great job on summer school. I think that the choice to limit 3 sites may have been a blessing in disguise. And I think it's something we need to think about for the future, because the numbers and the slowdown of that summer slide is going to be, I think, a big deal in spring. So as I visited the sites for back to school night, I can't believe how beautiful our campuses have become. And I really wanted to say thank you again to those who are maintaining it. It was a different feel, I think, this year at the back to school night. The atmosphere, the vibe. It's just, it was kind of like, it felt like a long time ago. So it's really wonderful to see all of your faces out there, and I can't wait to see when I get to come out there again. I get to go to all of them. So thank you for all of you. I kind of already said what I was going to say.
Remember Bannister.
I learned a new term recently. I've been on Instagram a lot, trying to do this. Trigger, we all know what that is, where you get triggered for a bad feeling. The new one is glimmer. And I want to thank you for organizing a meeting today. They give me a lot of glimmers, little things that look like, oh, that feels really nice. Remind you of pleasant things. And as Kathy was saying, walking on the campuses, gosh, Dunlap looks amazing. It's just so nice. It's just so nice. Thank you. Thank you to everybody that did all the hard work. It's great.
Board member Debbie.
Not to get too personal, but I haven't been able to attend a lot of the functions because of the health of my husband right now. So I've missed going to them, but I love seeing all the social media and seeing all the photos. It looks like everybody's off to a great start, and I'm looking forward to the opportunity to be able to be out with more crowds soon. I'm glad all of you guys can go and enjoy it. Bob, it's your first, right?
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you to everybody, and I'm sorry your summer's over, but welcome back.
Thank you, Debbie. Chief.
Thank you, President. The kickoff was awesome. I hadn't obviously been to one before, but what I like is we're asking our leaders to be positive leaders. Clearly, we're asking our principal to have positivity. It works if you lead like that, and our superintendent does that. And I saw it, just getting to talk to some of the educators and some of the great teachers we have. If I've said anything, and if I don't say it enough, I really appreciate what they do. And we have some great people in this organization. You can just tell. The back to school nights are great. They're always, I'm sure, it's just, okay, we got to get the parents in, we got to get the kids in, but everybody had something they're doing a little bit different. And all you got to do is look at students and they're smiling. So we are coming out of that time of COVID was on everybody's mind, and all the unintended consequences that occurred with that. It just feels like that's where, we're finally going to breathe. And you can just sense it with people. Now, we will have our challenges this year. I'm sure we'll have things that we've got to deal with that people won't be happy. But I think that the community still needs to stay involved. And and you should talk to your educators. What are your child's wishes? What do they want to do in life? What are these things that we can do to help them get to where they need to be? Because our educators want to do that. They want to help. And I'm really enthused by the new direction we're taking, both us, the city and the school district, of doing things as a community together, that we're working together. We're going to work together for the best of our community. And our schools, obviously, we're student focused. And I think our city council and their leadership and the city staff is working on keeping us safe also. And I just think that collaboration started. I'm glad the superintendent's been able to meet with the city manager and develop weekly or monthly meetings and just kind of go over things that we would have together. I think next you bring in the private industry. We bring in leaders of our community to work towards goals for all of us. And it's the key, but it all starts with our positive leadership of our superintendent. And I've seen it, I feel it, I know you're doing it. We're lucky to have you. So keep up the good work and our great teachers and principals.
Okay. I'm looking forward to a great school year too, and I'm also looking forward to football season. One of the best is I get to go on the sidelines, so I appreciate that. And I'll be there this Friday. But thanks everybody for coming this evening, and love the presentations and seeing the projects. Just really, I think Kathy hit the nail on the head, and our schools look great. I drive around, look at them, I'm proud to be a board member here. So thank you for everybody that does all of that work. We are adjourned. Oh. And we're